I'm Sue McMahon and I'm cookery editor of Woman's Weekly magazine, and I'm going to show you how to make a luxury fish pie. So as I'm using raw fish, the first thing is to cook the fish. So I'm going to pour 600 millilitres of milk into a large shallow pan and add a bay leaf. And I'm going to add the fish to the pan. Now I've got a kilo of fish here, it's mixed fish, so I've got some cod, some undyed smoked haddock, some salmon and some raw tiger prawns. Okay, so I can hear it bubbling now as well. So I'm going to turn the heat off and cover the pan. So I'm going to leave it now for 5 minutes for the fish to cook in the heat of the milk. So now I'm going to remove the fish from the milk and then strain the milk into a jug. So to make the sauce, I'm doing a roux sauce. So I'm going to melt 50 grams of butter. And once it's melted, I'm going to add 50 grams of plain flour. Once it's formed a thick paste, I'm just going to cook it very briefly so that the starch in the flour cooks. Now I'm going to gradually beat in the milk. To begin with, I only add a small amount of milk, but once you've added about half of it, you can start adding a little bit more each time. So now it's nice and smooth. I'm going to season it with some salt and pepper. And then I'm going to stir in the fresh dill. So this is my sauce, which is all ready now to assemble the pie. So while you've been making the sauce, the fish is cooled enough that it should be possible to handle it now. So what you need to do is to remove any skin from the fish and then break it into fairly large pieces and put it into the pie dish. So as well as the fish, I'm going to put some hard-boiled egg in the pie. So I've got 3 hard-boiled eggs which I've cut into quarters. Now once the fish and the egg is in there, I'm going to top it with the sauce. And then the pie needs to be left to cool a little bit before you put the pastry topping on it. So once the pie's cooled a little bit, you can top it with the pastry. So I'm using some ready rolled puff pastry. So the first thing I need to do is to unroll it, and to give some extra depth around the edge of the dish, I'm going to cut a strip and put some water over the dish, lift up the strip of pastry and press it over the top. Brush some water right over the top of this pastry. So I'm using just the point of the knife to cut through the pastry, and I'm doing this at an angle, and then I'm going to cut the other way to give a crisscross. So now take it away from the backing paper, and then I want to lift it over the top of the pie, taking care not to stretch it too much. If you stretch it a lot, then it will shrink back as the pie is cooking. So I'm going to press that firmly around the edge. And then I find the easiest way to get rid of the excess is to cut it with a pair of scissors. Now to pattern the edge, I'm going to press it with my finger and use the knife just to cut into it. So once I've gone all around the edge, I'm going to glaze the top of it with some beaten egg. Then once you've glazed it, you cut 2 holes in the top of it, And these allow the steam to escape while it's cooking. Otherwise, you might find the pastry goes soggy. So I'm going to put that onto a baking tray and into the oven. And the oven is fairly hot, it's 220 degrees centigrade, and this is probably going to take about 35 to 45 minutes, so that the pastry is nice and golden and that the filling is bubbling hot. So the fish pie is ready when the pastry is nice and golden. So I'm going to take it out of the oven and turn the oven off. Then to serve it, I find it's easier to use a knife to cut through the pastry to ease it off. And then I'm going to put that on the plate. And lift it up while I put the filling underneath it. So this is nice served with a salad or with boiled new potatoes, or alternatively with some freshly cooked frozen peas. So that's my finished luxury fish pie.